News Center 13 closed captioning is made possible by Wegmans.
From WOKR, Rochester, this is News Center 13 with Don Alhart, Diana Whiteman, meteorologist Bill Peterson, and Doug Embledge on sports.
Good evening, everyone. Don Alhart has the night off. I'm Gary Nierenberg.
A Fairport plant and 40 surrounding homes were evacuated for 90 minutes this afternoon after a major propane leak at the plant.
Diana, residents have now been allowed to return to their homes, but they were not allowed to do that before 800 gallons of propane vaporized. As Jim Redmond reports, the problem of the leak was made worse when a safety valve failed.
Fairport firefighters used water streams to disperse the fumes as 800 gallons of liquid propane turned into vapor and took off into the atmosphere. Propane is highly explosive. Authorities ordered residents in about 40 nearby homes to leave the area. About 40 workers at the American Can Company plant were also evacuated.
And we evacuated everybody that's in the prevailing winds, and we're just sitting tight until we can assure that we can, make the next move in safety. That's all.
Most residents went to stay with family or friends. Ann Coletta, her husband, and two neighbors spent 90 minutes at the Pines of Parrington Recreation Center.
I thought, well, we got to get out of here because I was afraid. I'm afraid of gas.
Authorities say the leak happened as Suburban Propane employees were dragging a 1,000-gallon tank out of an enclosure so they could replace it with another tank.
One of the pipes caught on some obstruction, I don't know what it was, and it just snapped the feed line.
There's a safety valve in the bottom of the tank that's supposed to prevent accidents like this. When the pipe breaks off, it's supposed to kick in and keep the propane inside. Today, that valve failed.
2 attempts were made to try to shut the leak off, but both of them failed, so we let it vaporize.
Once the propane was out of the tank, residents were told they could return to their homes. Jim Redmond, News Center 13.
Suburban Propane employees say the tank that leaked did not belong to Suburban. They say it belongs to Burnwell gas distributors.
Given recent history here in Monroe County, it somehow seems appropriate that we have this story to report on the last day of the year. It is bank robbery number 57 for this year. This time it was the Marine Midland Bank on Lyle Avenue. It marks the second time this year that bank has been hit. A man approached a teller at about noon, handing her a note saying he was armed with a gun. The suspect is described as 6 feet tall, in his mid-20s, with a bushy afro. He was wearing a brown leather coat, jeans, and square-rimmed glasses. No one was hurt. As we said, this is number 57 in the county this year, number 30 in the city.
A Rochester citizens group organized to fight a housing project proposed for Westfall Road this year will have something new to worry about next year. Tests have shown that the site contains higher than expected levels of several toxic chemicals. Now, Westfall Citizens Association members are worried about the threat the chemicals might pose to them. Here's David Burns.
News of higher than normal levels of some dangerous chemicals on this land off Westfall Road didn't stop children from playing on the slopes today. But some older residents of an adjacent apartment complex say they're worried about the danger they might face from the contaminated land.
What we're afraid of is this may be another love canal. We would like to have the state, and we're going to demand that the state or the city come in and do testing up through here, because we don't know what the residual waste is that's coming down into our apartments, our basements, or affecting the community.
The group was already well organized in opposition to a housing project proposed for the site when news of the contamination problem surfaced. The contamination may kill the housing project, but now the citizens group finds itself downhill from possibly dangerous chemicals.
No one's exactly sure what might be the source of the contaminants picked up in the testing so far. But some of the residents around here fear that the source may be pesticides or fertilizers from this abandoned greenhouse operation.
Whatever the source, though, the Westfall Citizens Association says the state should come in and do additional testing in the area. They say they plan to take their concerns to the Department of Environmental Conservation. David Burns, News Center 13.
The president of the Rochester Philharmonic Orchestra says he's willing to step down from his post in order to give the orchestra a fresh start. Tony DeCario says he thinks a new president might have a better chance of bringing the musicians and management together in 1988. Board members say they're seriously considering DeCario's offer.
Well, Diana, still ahead tonight, we'll report how Rochester is preparing to ring in the new year. And
this is Doug Embledge at the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. Our coverage of Syracuse and the Sugar Bowl coming up in sports.
I'm Tony Catalfo, president of Webster Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle Suzuki. I want to express my appreciation and holiday wishes to all of you who helped make 1987 a very good year. To you and to all of those close to you, I hope 1988 brings the very best.
Good news, Big Mac lovers. Starting Friday, participating McDonald's are going to do something so amazing you won't believe it. Here's a hint.
Live, Big Bird goes Hollywood and you. Theater magic.
Sesame Street Live, coming to the Rochester War Memorial January 6th through the 10th.
Tomorrow, 10 to 6, the 1988 Ruby Gordon half-price, half-store, half-day sale. Half the store, 50% off. No payment, no interest till April 88. Tomorrow, only at Ruby.
Discover the wonder of Colorado winter at Beaver Creek Resort. Sculpted slopes for those who ski, special enticements for those who want to learn. Extraordinarily gracious accommodations for every couple or family accustomed to the finest. From sun-up powder until Colorado's alpenglow has long since faded into night. Experience a family winter vacation of unsurpassed elegance at Beaver Creek Resort.
This portion of News Center 13 is brought to you by Dorschel Buick Toyota Isuzu.
There are less than 6 hours to go before the start of 1988, and time is also running out if you're making any final preparations for any New Year's Eve festivities.
the official City of Rochester New Year's Eve party this year is at Manhattan Square Park. That's why we sent Cheryl Gandy there for this live report. Cheryl, how are you?
I'm fine, but you know, Gary and Diana, if you ever want to feel like a kid again, just put on a pair of ice skates and slide around on the ice for a little while. I guarantee you'll get a really bad case of the sillies, and that's what tonight is really all about, just having fun and being a little silly with family and friends. At about 8 o'clock, 2 disc jockeys are going to come down, and they're going to have a musical countdown with all the skaters to 1988. But who could ever forget the musical extravaganza last year to welcome in 1987?
1987 came in on a slightly off-key note at the city's last New Year's bash, as thousands of kazooers staged what you could call a harmonic convergence on downtown. Such a musical feat has not been planned for the 88 celebration. Instead, merrymakers will get to skate in the new year.
The city's calling it Community Skate 88 at the Manhattan Ice Skating Rink. And if you're like me and spend most of your time falling on the ice instead of skating on it, there'll be plenty of hot cocoa afterwards to warm your bones.
And at the stroke of midnight, the park's space frame will be all aglow, high above the city for skaters and everyone to see. This instead of the traditional elevator ride on the First Federal Building to signal the start of the new year.
We'll have a welcome 1988 display on top of the space frame in Manhattan Square, so we think that's equally as exciting.
We're trying to keep things fresh and wanted to try some new ideas this year.
And the food should be just about ready for those who like to ring in the new year indoors. Chefs at the Holiday Inn Holidome are preparing a feast for 500. On the menu, filet mignon with all the trimmings and chocolate cake to top off the biggest celebration of the year.
We have a lot of parties during the year, but for one big event, it's the biggest bash we have, actually.
And you know, Canopy's restaurant down here is also having a special New Year's Eve dinner. But if you're just coming down here to skate, remember, skating is free. After 8 o'clock, you just have to pay to rent those skates. And at 11:45, the big fireworks display is going to begin. And you know, Diana, earlier Gary was laughing at my skating ability. But you know, Gary, I'm challenging you now in front of everybody and everyone watching. Come down after the news, and we'll see just who the best skater is.
Beat you to the punchline.
You've got a deal. You're on. Thank you.
I think it was a valiant attempt on his part. Well, coming up later from News Center 13, a warmer forecast from our meteorologist, Bill Peterson.
And next, Doug Embledge will report live from New Orleans on the eve of the Sugar Bowl.
Don't wait for higher prices. Right now, you can own a new Dorschel Buick Skylark for only $10,490, or only $188 per month with a Dorschel lease. Here's more savings. A new Buick Century sedan, Dorschel delivered for only $11,290, or as low as $210 per month with a Dorschel lease. And there's no down payment for qualified buyers. Both these cars are equipped with automatic power steering and brakes, radio, and much more. At Dorschel Buick, West Henrietta Road between Southtown and Marketplace Mall.
Bill Peterson and Rochester Television's largest meteorological staff provide you with exclusive information via Rochester's only weather radar system. The 13 Weather Center is your weather source for accurate, understandable forecasts. Still to come on News Center 13.
Holidays, I hate them. Nobody comes to the office, and where do they go? Silo. During Silo's New Year's sale, they have a sharp mid-size microwave for $199.99. And as if that's not enough, they have a Sony compact disc player for $199.99 that comes with 3 free CDs from Sony. Now, who'd go to Silo when they could be here, working for a sweet guy like me? There's no sale like a Silo sale.
It's the day after Christmas, and the great sale is here at the Clothing Center, where savings are clear. The Clothing Center after Christmas sale. Don't miss it.
Right. Toyota's on 88 means you can usher in the new year in style. Great trade-ins, on-the-spot financing, immediate delivery. Tricia?
What brought you to Toyotathon today?
To get this.
Extra value package?
Well, I saved hundreds on air, multiplex, cassette.
Right now, make your deal, get your car, and make the new year, but you gotta hurry. I didn't catch that, Tricia.
Happy New Year, Squire.
And a Happy New Year to everybody. Drive safely and see you in 88.
This portion of News Center 13 is brought to you by Wendy's.
Okay, Syracuse fans, time now to start biting your nails.
Yeah, and get back. Boy, if it's anything like the last time they were in New Orleans, we're going to have a close game, because that was basketball, but the football for tomorrow. And Bourbon Street, I'd imagine, will be left to the fans tonight. The players should be home resting because they have a big game tomorrow in New Orleans, and that's exactly where Doug Embledge is right now, as Doug is going to join us live from New Orleans, where he has been for the past couple of days. And Doug, how are things down there now? The game's tomorrow night. The players probably getting their rest.
It is countdown time now, Mike. There's no doubt about that. The Syracuse Orangemen just held what I would have to term a relaxed, loose practice here. Their last time on the turf here at the Superdome until game time tomorrow. Of course, the players just part of this spectacle. Then there are the fans, many of them from Rochester. In fact, we checked out a couple of the hotels where they are staying today, and they are just a sea of orange and blue. The Hilton here in New Orleans has been transformed into Syracuse Fan Central. Many traveling here as part of a tour to see the Sugar Bowl. Mel Besdin, one of those, making the trip from Rochester. He played basketball for SU back in 1954.
Before we had football at Syracuse. Syracuse was all football, basketball was second. And for a while, it turned the opposite. And now it's great to have both teams.
If you don't find a good...
Walter and Yvette Kissler here from Pittsford with a message for their children back home.
Yes, please send Nina and Tatiana. Mommy's out of money. Please send some.
Same here. I need money.
The Sugar Bowl coaches had lunch with the press today, posed with the trophy, and talked about the other team.
I don't know why so much has been said about the difference in football in the East and football in the Southeastern Conference, but I want to tell you something. What I see when I turn on Syracuse film, realistically, I see a hell of a football team that's got some great athletes displaying the kind of character and class and the quality that your team displayed this year has got to be a tremendous satisfaction to you and your people.
They will run and they will hit. And we sent some of our people down here just to get them fired up so they would learn how to teach our people that. We're not as good, but we're getting better. And I know we're going to be better after tomorrow because we're going to have a chance to get right on the same field with them. And we're very, very proud of that. With a tremendous amount of respect for a great football program, I hope you can realize just a little bit that we're very, very excited about being here.
They certainly are excited to be here. Coach Dick McPherson and his unbeaten Orangemen in the Sugar Bowl tomorrow. Pat Kelly and Coach McPherson join us now. Coach, it's countdown time.
It's right there, and I think we're right on schedule. I think Pat can tell you more about that, about as far as the team. The band's out there practicing. We're leaving right here to go to a beautiful restaurant, the Plantation House. We're having an 18-ounce prime rib, and we're just excited as heck.
Coach, this guy's last game of senior year. Tight end Pat Kelly out of Webster. Any butterflies the night before the game?
I don't think there's too many butterflies. I'm just really excited to play. We've been down here for a week. It's longer than any other game we've ever prepped for, and I just want to get out and play.
Anything that you've decided about going into tomorrow's game? Anything we're going to see different from what we saw all season long?
I think what the people in Rochester have got to understand, this is a great defensive team we're playing. So we've got to find out just how good we are offensively. We've got to use every tool that we have. I don't think you'll see us throw the big one right off the bat because we've got to feel them out a little bit because they're so deep. We could never get anything deep. And so we've got to get them up front. I think what I'd like to know, to hear the people from Rochester, hear a Webster guy, to let us know just how he feels the squad is about tomorrow's game. That's what I'd like to see.
As far as you looking for a big pass tomorrow, you're going to be looking for something for yourself. You said after the West Virginia game you like to be in that pressure situation.
Well, I tell you, I don't mind a pressure situation. I'd like to be in a real comfortable situation tomorrow. I'd like to see our offense click like we have in the past. And, you know, I know everybody's ready to play football and everybody's healthy. So I'm confident in our offense and our defense is going to be strong. So I think the Orange are going to be looking good tomorrow.
Pat, Coach, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Being here. Enjoy your New Year's Eve. Happy New Year.
Love it. Thank you.
The Sweet Season, our half-hour special on Syracuse football coming up at 7 o'clock tonight. Again tomorrow morning at 11:30. More from New Orleans at 11 o'clock.
Doug, any word on Ted Gregory? The word we've gotten up here is that he will suit up and start tomorrow. Have you heard anything down there?
Mike, I have to be honest with you. The band is so loud right now, I can't hear whatever you said. So the answer to your question is yes, no, and maybe.
Okay. All right, thanks, Doug. Doug Embledge down in New Orleans where he is having a good time with the coach. And the word we do get is that Ted Gregory will be in uniform tomorrow and try to see how that knee holds up tomorrow as the Orange take on Auburn. Now, a couple of things we wanted to add tonight, Gary. The Amerks are in action tonight. They'll be playing in Utica. And the Sabres have made a deal. They sent winger Paul Sear to the Rangers for a rookie and a couple of draft picks. So that's going on tonight, but the big news will be we'll have Doug back again tonight at 11 o'clock and see if anything has changed on Bourbon Street an hour before the New Year's celebration.
Doug Embledge is not short. Doug Embledge is almost 6 feet tall, but interviewing Pat Kelly, it's like
he's looking upward the whole time.
Funny to see. Now, also at 11 o'clock tonight, plays of the year?
Yeah, we're going to look back at some of the biggest plays that happened from 1987 as we move into 88.
Okay, 11 o'clock tonight. Thank you, Mike. Financial news now. Another bad day for the dollar. It ended the year at record lows against the Japanese yen, the West German mark, the Swiss franc, and the Dutch guilder. The stock market in New York was down too. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closing down more than 11 points at 1938.83. Here are stocks of local interest.
I'm TV 13 meteorologist Bill Peterson. This is the 13 ski report. Bristol Mountain, 10 to 20 inches of base and 10 new inches of snow. 9 trails open, 16 trails open at Swain, 2 inches of new snow at the 30 inches of base, 18 to 16 inches of base at Greek Peak, 14 trails, 16 trails at Holiday Valley on 15 inches of snow. And Kissing Bridge reporting packed powder machine groomed surfaces, 12 to 28 inches of base at Whiteface Mountain and 15 trails open.
Sir, would you choose hamburger A Wendy's hamburger that you can get your choice of fresh toppings on, or B, the competition's where they tell you the toppings you want?
B. I choose B because the toppings were picked by a person or persons unknown to me, relieving me of any liability with regards to the B burger. And let me add that I'm happy to assist this investigation any way I can.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Most people like hamburgers with their choice of fresh toppings, like Wendy's, the best burgers in the business.
1987 was a very good year for your Ford dealers, and we say thank you for making Ford the #1 selling nameplate in America. Now through January 12th, get $600 cash back direct from Ford on any new Taurus in stock. Plus save $600 more on options, all backed by Ford's 6-year, 100,000-mile corrosion warranty. Thank you for making your local Ford dealer #1.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
Dad always said, watch where you're going. Not bad advice. The warning signs were there. My friends quitted 2 drinks. I put away 5 or 6. I thought I could drink them under the table. When my wife said I should cut down, I told her to stop nagging. My drinking almost ruined my life. If you see these signs in yourself or someone you love, call your local council on alcoholism or 1-800-ALCALS and watch where you're going.
Boy, did it warm up this morning. Bill's got some interesting...
Oh,
I'm surprised to see the difference between temperature this morning.
Last night at 11 o'clock, we forecast warming temperatures, and that happened, but not until in the morning. At 6 o'clock, we were at 2 degrees. At 8 o'clock, we were at 26 degrees. It was incredible. It just up it came, and we got to 41 today for a high temperature. Very mild out there. Not a lot of sunshine, at least late in the day. We did start out rather sunny, and our low for the day was 0. But as I said, it warmed up about 24 degrees in 2 hours early this morning. Temperatures, average temperatures for this date, there you see in the record, set back in 1875 and 1963. Cloudy skies, we are still at 40 degrees here in Rochester. Humidity at 70%. Winds are from the southwest, and our pressure is steady. The pressure will continue to fall later tonight, and so will our temperatures as we drop down into the 20s. A warm front has moved into the area. A cold front will follow, and there's some major changes, some interesting things going on in the next, let's say 5 to 7 days in our weather patterns. 40 degrees here in Rochester, as well as Niagara Falls and at Buffalo. North of the lake, temperatures also in the 30s, as well as over to the east. Now, northeast view of the satellite, you can see the band of clouds down over us. There has been drizzle reported off and on around our viewing area most of the day. Quick check of live Rochester radar shows that we still, in fact, have some drizzle all over the lake, back into Orleans County, just getting into western Monroe County, the Hamlin-Hilton area. And again, that will drift through the area very slowly. But what will happen later tonight is the drizzle will turn over to snow. And unfortunately, I think what's going to happen is that will probably be, say, after 1 in the morning. So in that, when you're driving home from those New Year parties, why, use care, because the roads could freeze up at that time, turn over to snow, and could make driving a little slippery in places. Our U.S. view of the satellite, let's put the systems in right away. High pressure really dominates back to the west. There's another system brewing well back to the west that really looks to be kind of interesting for the first half of next week. It looks like possibly a major storm moving this way, and we'll certainly keep you posted. But right now we have a warm front that has moved through the area. Here comes that trailing cold front. As it pushes in, we will see this rain and drizzle in our area turn over to snow. And of course, as the cold air comes behind it, very cold air in behind this system, both of them continue to move to the east. Friday's map looks like this. The cold front has now moved off. Our low temperatures tonight will be the high tomorrow. Very common occurrence when that cold front does move through during the night. We will see some flurry activity develop in and around most of the viewing area. Again, a cold, high-pressure system dominates most of the western 2/3 of the nation. Saturday, the cold front even moves further to the east, and what will happen now, the winds become northwesterly. That cold air really firmly entrenches itself in this area. We could see Friday night and Saturday some lake-enhanced snow, so some of us could get some heavier snowfall amounts moving through the weekend. It looks like both Saturday and Sunday, temperatures will have to struggle to make it above the mid-20s. Flurry activity tonight. We'll start out possibly a little rain and drizzle. West winds, temperatures dropping into the 20s tonight. For tomorrow, we will see light flurry activity, maybe a glimpse at the sun. West winds, temperatures 24 to 29 degrees. For Friday night, flurries and I think some squalls developing as the temperatures get down again to around 10 and temperatures around 20 on Saturday. Flurries and squalls, possibly a little sunshine, and winter is here, and it looks like it's here to stay.
Can't keep track of it all.
No.
Okay, thank you. Still to come, SU fans pay an interesting tribute to their players.
Another 30 seconds of common sense. Shop around, and you'll find that the average price of a used car today is almost $6,000. Lots of money for a car you know nothing about from someone you'll probably never see again. Especially when you can buy this brand new Hyundai Excel for just $55,200, or this four-door for just $60,200. Ever think you'd see the day when a new car would become a sensible alternative to a used car? Think about it.
Test drive the 1988 Excel at Miracle and Dick Hyundai. We sell cars that make sense.
Tomorrow, New Year's Day, Ruby Gordon presents the 1988 half-price, half-store, half-day only sale. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., half of Ruby Gordon's furniture will be marked in half, 50% off. But that's only half the story. Buy tomorrow and make no payment, pay no interest till April 1988. Enjoy your new Ruby Gordon furniture 3 full months before payment is due. Tomorrow, 10 to 6, only at Ruby Gordon. Our 1988 half-price, half-store, half-day sale. No payment, no interest till April, only at Ruby.
Ébauché de maison, canne de fruits et gâteau fraise. Superbe.
Hey, Joe, number 2 and number 4.
The new Gemini microwave from Panasonic not only broils brilliantly,
Brochette maison.
it browns beautifully. It also bakes deliciously. And of course, it microwaves perfectly. The new Gemini microwave from Panasonic.
Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time.
In Rochester, see Charlotte Appliance, 3200 Lake Avenue.
Attention. If you're shopping for a new car this week, this is a very special alert. The Lincoln Mercury Sales Alert. Now, save over $1,500 on Mercury Cougar with a popular equipment package and $600 customer cash. Save over $1,400 on Sable with a popular equipment package and $600 customer cash. Or get $400 customer cash on Mercury Tracer. We're standing by and ready to deal, but be alert. See your upstate New York Lincoln Mercury Mercure dealer.
Not all of the big Syracuse fans are in New Orleans with Doug. Some of the big Syracuse fans are right here in Irondequoit doing some very strange things to get ready for the big game. Ginny Ryan reports.
The symptoms are everywhere. The Moody household has got the fever. Orange fever.
We're making orange.
What's this stuff?
I spray painting Dad's grass. I don't know, we just wanted to make a statement, I guess, to the rest of Colwood Drive that we're Syracuse fans and hope that they join in with us tomorrow in a big party here, and maybe they'll come over and cheer us on.
Brian caught the fever from his dad, Bob. And no, surprisingly, he didn't catch it from college at Syracuse. Mr. Moody went to RIT, and Brian went to Buffalo State. So they're fans because it's fun.
It's a local college. It's nearby, so you can see them play. And, you know, it's not like going to... I'm also a Notre Dame fan, but I can't go to Notre Dame every weekend, but I can go to Syracuse every weekend.
On the road or on the tube, the Moodies follow Syracuse through just about every season. But they decided to go all out this time because this is the first time the Orangemen have been to the Sugar Bowl since 1964. It's reason for even Mom Moody to get into the act. She's a cheerleader, too. But does she mind orange everywhere? No, because she's got the fever, too.
Are we nuts? Yeah. You better believe we're nuts. We have a good time. We really enjoy partying and, you know, take every opportunity to cheer for Syracuse, as, you know, many times as we can. We've enjoyed their games. And
Mrs. Moody says the only time their loyalties are split is when Syracuse plays Notre Dame. Ginny Ryan, News Center 13.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, look for a weather change
Yeah,
in
it
temperature.
will cool tonight. It's really interesting during the week and what's going to happen in the first part of next week. But tonight, rain will change to snow, flurries at drive time in the morning, and temperatures in the 20s.
Okay, thank you.
Coming up from News Center 13 tonight at 11, we'll report how Rochester is ringing in the new year.
And Doug Emblich will again report live from New Orleans on how Syracuse is preparing for the Sugar Bowl.
Something a little special even before 11.
Yeah, 7 o'clock tonight, the Sweet Season, a half-an-hour special on the team, will be repeated tomorrow morning at 11:30, and then, of course, the game, 3:30 tomorrow, right here on Channel 13.
All right, Mike, we'll see it at 7 o'clock.
Right.
Stay tuned next for ABC World News Tonight.
And join us again, please, at 11.
Patrick says you clip it, we'll beat it.
Everybody's picking Patrick.
Just cut out any ad from across the country, we're going to beat it big time.
Everybody's picking
Any
Patrick.
ad, any price, we'll beat it. Guaranteed.
Everybody's picking
I'll
Patrick.
guarantee you something else. Nobody has more Pontiacs like the all-new Sunbird. Patrick's got 50 ready to fly. You want to shop around? That's your business. You want to buy a Pontiac for less guaranteed? That's our business.
Everybody's picking Patrick.
Grand Am Grand Prix, we're going to save you $1,000, and you're going to feel like $1,000,000. Firebirds, we've got a flock of 50. And Patrick's priced these birds lower than every competitor's sale price. Here's 2 for the road, the 6000, Pontiac's newest sedan, and the always powerful, always comfortable Bonneville. You name it, from the safari wagon to the exciting Fiero. Just clip out their ad, any day. We'll prove once and for all.
Everybody's picking Patrick.
Next to Marketplace Mall.
Sure, there are 5,000 volunteer jobs available. But what could I do?
You'd be surprised. Call 454-1100 today.
Hollywood Squares tonight at 7:30, only on WOKR 13.
This is Trafalgar Square in London, right this moment, where it's just about half an hour before 1988. 100,000 Londoners waiting here to celebrate the new year. And this is Times Square in New York City, which is going to look just as crowded in a few more hours on this New Year's Eve, 1987.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Sitting in tonight, Chief Correspondent Richard Threlkeld.
Good evening. There is some news around the world tonight, but the big story is, of course, New Year's. In this country, it's still a few hours away, but in most of the rest of the world, of course, it's 1988, and it's already arrived, or is just about to. ABC's Mike Lee has a sampling of some of the celebrations.
The Australians, who live in that far lower right-hand corner of the world map near the international date line, were the first to celebrate the new year and their own 200th birthday. In the land of the rising sun, the Japanese celebrated the beginning of the year of the dragon. Buddhist monks rang the temple bells 108 times. Humans have 108 desires, so they say. 107 for those of us who don't desire a cold shower of holy water. In less traditional Singapore tonight, youngsters dance their way into the new year. In Thailand, the star attraction on New Year's Eve TV was a street merchant who calls himself the Kung Fu Ice Cream Man. It was a big night on Soviet TV.
We wish a Happy New Year to the people of the socialist countries and our friends all over the world.
Americans may not agree with Mr. Gorbachev's New Year's claim that the ideas of Lenin have been a triumph. But what happened in Red Square tonight is proof that the Soviets are ahead of us. On the clock. Mike Lee, ABC News.
Tomorrow, the Soviet leader will deliver a brief message to the people of this country, and President Reagan will deliver his own New Year's Day message to the people of the Soviet Union. ABC News will carry both of them about 11:45 in the morning Eastern Time. This New Year's Eve did not bring an easing of the tensions on the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. There were more Palestinian protests, and surprisingly, some from within the Israeli army itself. Here's ABC's Dean Reynolds.
Here in Nablus, as elsewhere in the occupied territories, there are daily, increasingly restless vigils for those arrested in the Palestinian riots against Israeli rule. Emotions were running high this morning as one suspect was brought to the military court, and the Israeli military moved firmly to restore order. Other troops ordered cameras away, and the entire town was eventually put off limits to the press. There are now indications that some in the military have had enough. Today, more than 160 Israeli reservists said they'll go to jail before serving in what they called the Army's brutal suppression.
We are hoping that every soldier in the IDF reserve forces will sign this petition and will say that he will not take part in any suppressing act
They're only a small fraction of the entire force. Other troops are braced for possible trouble tomorrow, the 23rd anniversary of Fatah, Yasser Arafat's branch of the Palestine Liberation Organization. And in a move to curtail possible trouble, the West Bank's Israeli military commander said today some arrested Palestinians may be released next week if tomorrow is peaceful. Dean Reynolds, ABC News, Tel Aviv.
The State Department says it is disgusted by the surprise release from prison in Colombia of drug dealer Jorge Luis Ochoa. Ochoa, who's said to be responsible for 70% of the cocaine smuggled into the U.S., was set free by a judge last night in Bogota. The State Department says it will have a devastating effect on Colombia's reputation as a serious opponent of drug trafficking. Last night, we reported on the Vietnamese children of American soldiers who served in Vietnam and on the difficult adjustment many of them face when they finally get to this country. Well, today, 65 more of those Amerasian children began their long trip to the United States. First stop, Thailand. 4,000 have already settled in the U.S. Twice that many applications are still pending. Later in this broadcast, a smokers' revolt in the skies over California. And should there be warning labels on liquor bottles?
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by AT&T.
Every day, over 30 million AT&T calls go through on the first try. Thanks to a remarkably intelligent network that forecasts traffic, anticipates tie-ups, and determines the quickest way around them. All in less time than it takes to dial. The AT&T network, you can call it the mastermind of long distance.
Glad I got through.
We're reaching further to bring your world closer. AT&T, the right choice.
GM meets your challenge now.
If you ask me to dish out my hard-earned money on a new car, then you better show me some real quality that's priced right.
GM meets your challenge with outstanding quality and great values backed by the strongest warranty in GM history.
What about price?
Most popular GM cars and trucks equipped the way you want are priced lower in 1988. And right now you can more than double your savings on option packages on some of our best-selling cars.
That's leadership.
That's GM.
All was well aboard TWA Flight 853 from Boston to Los Angeles last night until the captain announced there'd be no smoking in coach, not by anybody. Several passengers lit up anyway, and when the flight attendants tried to stop them, there was a scuffle. At least 3 of the passengers were arrested by police when the plane got to Los Angeles. ABC's Bettina Gregory has the rest of the story.
The trouble started aboard the TWA jet when a flight attendant tried to grab a cigarette from Heather Kell, who ignored a no-smoking announcement.
So then I got annoyed, and I said, first of all, take your hand off me. Second of all, get your finger out of my face.
TWA says it banned all smoking on the flight because federal rules require it to give all passengers who want them no-smoking seats, and there were too many non-smokers aboard to permit a smoking section. But the near riot that occurred on the TWA flight is just a skirmish in the war over smokers' rights. Tomorrow, a new battlefront opens here in California. All smoking is banned on planes, trains, and bus trips inside the state.
Non-smoking will be loading in the middle. Smoking passengers for safety.
Amtrak says it will not change its policy of having smoking and no-smoking cars. So far, Delta, Continental, and United say they'll obey the California law starting tomorrow.
We decided to go ahead and support that particular legislation because it did seem like the people of California wanted to have no smoking on their flights within California.
But PSA, one of California's largest carriers, says it will not comply because the Airlines Trade Association advised them they don't have to obey state laws.
The correct interpretation is that federally certificated airlines only are required to abide by federal law and regulations.
But the federal government has decreed smoking will be banned on all flights lasting 2 hours or less starting April 22nd of the new year. Bettina Gregory, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The coming of this new year means all sorts of new laws around the country. In Illinois, couples who want to get married will first have to submit to an AIDS test. That starts tomorrow, but as ABC's Chris Bury reports, many couples have been trying to beat the deadline.
Would you raise your right hand, please?
Across Illinois, would-be brides and grooms lined up today to beat the deadline.
In the last 5 days, we've processed well over 90 marriage licenses, which is, of course, it's unheard of at this time.
The run on marriage licenses here is to avoid the new Illinois law and the $50 or more it will cost to have blood tested for the AIDS virus.
It's not that I don't want to take the AIDS test, it's just that I don't want to have to pay extra money for it to get married.
The new Illinois law does not prevent anyone who tests positive from getting married. Results are revealed only to the couples and their doctors, who must report positive cases to public health officials, but cannot name names.
Partner should know about the other partner if they have it.
Well, it's my business. And if I don't want to go and have the test, I don't feel that I should have to.
They can draw the blood down in the main lab.
Only Illinois and Louisiana will now require an extra AIDS test to get married. But 35 states are considering such legislation, despite critics who say it is a waste of time and money.
It will detect only a very, very small portion. We estimate less than 0.1% of the persons in the United States who are infected.
But the biggest difference for most likely brides and grooms, authorities say, may simply be the new delays in getting married. AIDS testing can take up to 3 weeks. One more obstacle to getting to the church on time. Chris Bury, ABC News, Chicago.
And when we come back, Puerto Rico's DuPont Plaza Hotel. A year now since that awful fire.
Look, it's still here after 20 years. Michael loves Sarah.
Nothing's changed. You're as beautiful today as that day I proposed.
I take care of myself.
She eats right, exercises, and takes Geritol Complete, with nearly twice the iron of ordinary supplements, more vitamins and minerals combined.
Those were good years. These are the best years of my life.
So, will you marry me?
Again? Yes.
Geritol Complete, for the best years of your life.
See these ordinary red stickers? Well, they're red, but ordinary? No. See, Publishers Clearinghouse is announcing the winning number that could win you $10 million on January 29th. Now, no one else is going to tell you this, but these stickers could mean a whole other $1 million if you hurry. You'll only find your sticker inside the Publishers Clearinghouse envelope. So, look for the house, find your sticker, and if you win, remember, you heard it here.
Is the place.
Hey, Gene, can you give me a hand here?
Be right with you, John.
Thanks. Let me tell you, Jean's my favorite helpful hardware person. She knows everything. How to fix stuff, what tools to use, the right kind of paint to buy. Hey, there's nothing she doesn't know.
So how can I help you today, John?
I just got a couple jobs.
Well, nothing we can't handle. Let's start with the toggle bolt.
Toggle bolts?
Ace is the place.
She knows just what to do and how to do it. Hey, let me tell you, Ace is a place for me.
New Year's Eve, exactly 1 year ago. It was right around 3 in the afternoon when a terrible fire broke out at a crowded hotel in Puerto Rico. It was the kind of tragedy that many people insisted should never happen again. But could it? Here's ABC's John Martin.
It was the second worst hotel fire in American history. 97 dead, 140 injured, 1,000 people running for their lives. Helicopters lifted more than 100 survivors off the roof. Today, the hotel is still closed. Its owners face $895 million in damage claims, but say they will reopen later this year. 3 employees who set the fire are serving 70-year prison terms on federal arson charges. A commission found the carnage could have been avoided. 2 sprinklers could have snuffed out the initial flames without the loss of a single life.
We had no smoke detector in the room. If we did, it never worked because when Bonnie smelled smoke, nothing went off. I don't believe there was an alarm system throughout the facility. Nobody heard one.
There's no sprinkler system.
There were no sprinkler systems.
A year ago, Nick Bucci helped save lives on the hotel roof. Today, he and his wife are back in San Juan as tourists again. A year ago, Puerto Rico's fire codes required no sprinklers. Now, they must be installed within 2 years. Some firefighters still complain of not enough equipment, but the Puerto Rican legislature is trying. It has increased the fire budget 30%. The department is hiring and training 310 new firefighters and inspectors. But the United States Fire Administration here in Maryland draws the conclusion that while Puerto Rico is moving ahead, there is still the danger that the reforms won't be completed soon enough.
Whether they'll be able to sustain it or not, of course, remains to be seen.
Could another DuPont Plaza fire happen there?
Yes, but those kind of fires could occur in a lot of jurisdictions.
In fact, much of the United States remains vulnerable to the same calamity. Fire experts say 85% of America's hotels and motels lack sprinklers. Congress is now considering a law requiring sprinklers in every state.
The 97 people who died at the DuPont Plaza Hotel should not have died in vain.
So, a year after the worst hotel fire in 40 years in America, the seeds of reform are taking root, slowly. John Martin, ABC News, Washington.
In tonight's Money Matters on Wall Street, stock drifted lower today. The Dow Jones Industrial is losing about 11 points in moderate trading. That brought the loss for the week to more than 60 points. And for the whole year, with the long run-up and the nosedive down, the market still ended up just about where it started, up only about 43 points over where it was last January. Our New Year's Eve broadcast will continue in a moment.
Everybody knows this baby. It's a Jeep, and it's back home again. Jeep is now part of Chrysler. And one thing we know for sure, if you're going to put a new car alongside a legend, you better do it right. So we're introducing the first new American car brand in 30 years, Eagle. This is Eagle Premier, European styling and the most aerodynamic sedan built on this continent. In addition, front-wheel drive, overhead cam V6, multi-port fuel injection. The works. We gave it quality. It's built in the newest high-tech plant in North America. Quality we back with 7 years, 70,000-mile protection. The American car buyer expects the best. Wrangler, Cherokee, Comanche, and now Premier. Legend says Jeeps always land on their feet. And Eagles, well, they gotta fly. You can bet on it.
Fireman's Fund Insurance, underwriter of movies and television, construction projects, property. The stakes are high.
Every time you go into business, there's risk.
Our business is learning to understand and handle that risk.
We needed a partner to help us through that, and we found it in IBM. We got IBM together with our business people and captured the way our experts arrive at decisions, and that's what goes into the computer. Doing business with IBM minimizes our risk. IBM is our insurance policy.
Till now, finding an answer wasn't easy. If you had a bladder control problem, like millions of women, you had to find your own solution, or maybe try something big and bulky. Now there's new Serenity Regular Guards. Serenity's compact, yet it absorbs more where you need it most, more than even big undergarments. Serenity locks liquid into a gel that can't leak. The protection you've been searching for is here at last. New Serenity from Johnson & Johnson.
We have a story tonight that we thought was particularly appropriate for New Year's Eve. This is, after all, the one night a year that many people think that drinking is in. Getting tipsy or worse is justified. Well, it's not surprising that some people do not think so and are trying to do something about it. ABC's Bill Blakemore reports from Boston.
Imagine health warning labels like those already on cigarette packs and ads, clearly displayed on all alcoholic beverage containers. Beer, wine, and hard liquor, sweet liqueurs and wine coolers. Imagine them on celebratory vintage bottles from select European vineyards served at elegant tables. And on sturdy American brews, bottles and cans, perched on bars or picnic tables.
Maybe it'll make people think twice. You know, anything's worth a try.
It was unthinkable to many even 10 years ago, but the Massachusetts House of Representatives has already passed a bill requiring such labels, sponsored by a member who's betting it's an idea whose time has already arrived.
I'm proposing that all alcoholic beverages that are sold in the Commonwealth have one of 4 different health warning labels on them.
Each of the 4 labels, rotated randomly, would use the words, "contains the drug alcohol," and add one of the following. It can cause birth defects during pregnancy, impair driving and machine operation, increase risk of hypertension, liver disease, and cancer, is addictive for many persons.
I think this would be another step in the direction of making people aware of the hazards of alcohol.
The bill is getting strong support in editorials here and from a growing number of state and private consumer health and drug abuse groups. A nationwide Gallup poll last year reported 79% of American adults favor such warning labels for all alcoholic beverages. The alcohol beverage industry spokesmen we've contacted say they oppose warning label laws, but that they don't want to make statements on camera about it at this time.
I think that they are frankly finding it difficult to argue publicly against this.
The public is reading about a new flood of research showing exactly how alcohol damages all parts of the brain and body. Many in Massachusetts believe labels would have at least some good effect.
Especially if there's young children, and children tend to read, and, you know, Daddy, Mommy, it says this, and why are you drinking it?
The bill's sponsors are hopeful it will clear the Massachusetts Senate in 1988, become state law, and an example to the nation. Bill Blakemore, ABC News, Boston.
And when we come back, the old year in review as our New Year's Eve broadcast continues.
How fast does Anbesol relieve toothache pain? Before you can say.
Anbesol.
Denture pain? Before you can say.
Anbesol.
Anbesol stops minor mouth pain on contact. Anbesol, liquid or gel.
Here's Jerry with a new car.
What'd you pay for it?
About $5,600.
Are you kidding?
Does it run on batteries?
What's it made of? Crepe paper?
Does it have a motor? Does it have a motor? Can I kick the tires?
Will the door come off the hinges?
Hey, guess what? It's a Subaru!
Oh, a Subaru.
Subaru!
Only one inexpensive car is built like a Subaru. The Subaru Justy. Inexpensive and built to stay that way.
Such a smart boy. Oh.
This is it. The big day when I announce American Family Publishers' next multimillionaire is almost here. I will personally award cash millions this February. Find your fast win ticket in the envelope with my picture. Beat this date, and 2 months from now, you may become an American Family millionaire.
Just like us.
Millions of dollars, all for you. Enter fast, win fast at American Family.
Is anything as lonely as an only cup of coffee? It doesn't have to be. Weight Watchers has gorgeous cake, beautiful pie. Bye-bye, lonely only, bye-bye. Weight Watchers, this is living.
Friday, preteens obsessed with looking good are resorting to dangerous diets. Plus, what happens when a country is run by women? On 2020 Friday.
Finally, this New Year's Eve, we'll be ringing out the old year a little irreverently, looking at the year just passed with the help of the Capitol Steps, the musical satirists from Washington, D.C. What kind of a year was 87? Words and music by the Capitol Steps. Apologies to Gilbert and Sullivan.
In 1987, how the comedy would barrel in, with better roles for Reagan than back when he starred with Errol Flynn. The year before, he had a score of record popularity, till fickle fate brought Contragate's Iranian hilarity.
We've been snookered again. And how many times, you know, do we put up with this rug merchant type of stuff?
His chief of staff made people laugh. Don Regan was a fancy kid, but Reagan wouldn't fire him until one day his Nancy did. A hostile press said, "You confess," the president said.
Golly, no, I hadn't any knowledge of this kook Iran and Ali show.
Mr. President, there's a poll says 2/3 of the country is skeptical about your explanation.
I've lost my voice.
He hadn't any knowledge of that kook Iran and Ali show. Told the Ayatollah.
Ayatollah, I told you so.
Over at the CIA, Bob Woodward asked, what did Bill Casey know?
I don't think it was wrong. I think it was a neat idea.
With secret hires and winter tires, they spent their funds suspiciously. Von Hall sneaked out her documents in clothing surreptitiously.
Are you criticizing how well I did my shredding?
If papers could be shredded and if records were concealable, the Congress wondered if the Fifth Amendment were repealable.
Through Holly's little follies, Reagan's secrets were revealable. If there should be indictments, it's a pardon wheel and dealable.
I thought it was a neat idea, too. And I'm sure the president would have enjoyed knowing about it.
I intend to seek the presidency of the United States in 1988.
Then Hart took Donna Rice for monkey business out to Bimini.
Have you ever committed adultery?
I do not have to answer that question.
Reporters from Miami saw them both through Gary's chimney.
Now, clearly, under present circumstances, this campaign cannot go on.
While Jesse did impressively, and Gebhardt was a fighting kid, Dukakis caused a leak about the sneaky things Joe Biden did.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
As Robert Dole rose in the poll by warning us we got a script, George Bush declared, "Okay, Pierre, I'll show you I am not a wimp." Since Babbitt, Simon, Kemp, and Gore were such a boring crop of men, when Gary changed his mind, we knew we'd find him back on top again.
Let's let the people decide. I'm back in the race.
When Gary changed his mind, we saw him climbing back on top again. Gary changed his mind, now will he change his name and age again? What could be his new idea? His no excuses line of jeans for men.
Do you hear me? 25. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
On Wall Street, as the year began, the bulls were doing plenty fine.
Liquidate everything at the market.
One Monday, they went manic like the panic back in 29.
It was just going down and down and down. Never stopped.
The Reagan fiscal formula recalled what Herbert Hoover planned.
There is nothing wrong with the economy.
And just in case it doesn't work, go buy a lot of Krugerrand.
We turned from moral guidance to a TV evangelical. Ivan Boesky seemed angelical. A fiction brought conviction for that Reagan image maker lad, though Deaver had a better year than Jim and Tammy Baker had.
I've been married to this man for 26 years, and I can tell you one thing, he's not homosexual, or is he bisexual. He's a wonderful, loving husband.
Mike Deaver had a better year than Jim and Tammy Baker had.
I want to go home.
Everyone had better years.
And Robert Bork.
I didn't ask for today. I just asked him to be brought to an end.
We met the Holy Father, what a trendy and outspoken pope. While Coop promoted safer sex and Ginsburg said he's smoking dope. Because of drugs, judicial nominations face paralysis. And now they ask you on the job.
Please give us your analysis.
The strikers in the NFL taught fans how deep their malice is.
The Giants weren't so super.
But the worst team could be Dallas is.
Hand up to Collins. Free ball on the field.
The garbage barge was everywhere. The stench was getting horrid. With guns on LA freeways, they could get 'em fast in Florida. Like Bernie Getz, our war cadets began to act disarmingly. Since under perestroika, Russian leaders acted charmingly.
I want to say hello to you.
Raisa said,
because of me, my Gorby had such easy luck. Because all the other Kremlin boys are built just like a diesel truck.
Right.
Then Gorby meets the media, one correspondent tunnels in.
I like your press, but must confess I'm bothered by Sam Donaldson.
Mr. General Secretary, Mr. Gromyko once said of you, you have a nice smile, but iron teeth.
He likes our press, but must confess he's bothered by Sam Donaldson. Could have guessed we're not impressed, he's bothered by Sam Donaldson.
Mr. General Secretary, it is said that you have been very smiling in public, but very grim in private.
The Congress likes to raise your tax. Its members sure are good at that. A year from now, they'll be dismissed when Haig has staged his coup d'etat.
Could 88 be funnier? The odds seem astronomical.
So when you pick your president, choose someone very comical.
President Michael doesn't think you should get or will get new Contra aid. We also...
That's one view of 87, and that's our report on World News Tonight. From everybody here at ABC News, Happy New Year, and good night.
ABC, this has been World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
New Year's Eve, gear up and get set for the bowl games with Sledgehammer.
You're supposed to hurt the one you love, not murder him.
That.
Jane Fonda, Robert at Redford, the Electric Horseman following Sledgehammer.
Tonight.
Coming up tonight at 11, a look at New Year's Eve celebrations and why officials were forced to evacuate a section of Fairport today. All the news tonight at 11.
Announcing the Holman Holiday Happening. Right now, between the holidays, Holman will write a Chevrolet car or truck deal the way you want it. Factory incentives, savings up to $2,000, special 660 warranty, more selections, more styles, and more room to deal. Holman cannot hold on to these cars or trucks any longer. Get the greatest holiday gift of all, a brand new Holman Chevrolet car or truck, now during the Holman Holiday Happening.
Your bridal show of shows, Rochester's premier bridal spectacular. Be there for the 21st Annual Bridal Showcase Sunday, January 10th at the Holiday Inn downtown. Presented by Bridal Hall and WOKR 13. Bridal Showcase with everything that's new from the world's foremost designers. Sign up for your free tickets now at these participating